Guys, just made a quick video of my Aru Green Tree Python yearling. I had him out to do some cleaning, and this one was in the background, so I thought I'd make a quick video of him. And then I got to thinking that I might talk a little bit about the cages that I'm using at the moment, because I've been asked a few times recently about the cages. These are PVC cages by Non-Stop Reptiles, NSR they call themselves. These are really great cages. I really recommend these if you're keeping green tree pythons or anything else that needs, high humidity, that kind of thing. Or just, I know a lot of people are using them for a lot of different snakes now, boas and different pythons. Yeah, they're really great. So this one has my male green tree python in here. He's an Aru type. He's about 4 years old. And this is his cage, 600mm cube, so that's 2 foot cube in old money. Yeah, really great cages. I like them. Mine here, as you can see, have a single door. These are acrylic doors on these little latches, and these are swing open. NSR make them. They make these cages. They have like an arboreal range and a terrestrial range, and then they come in a few different types. They have like basic models of each type and size that they do, and then they've got ones that have got extra specifications, if you like, to them, and you can order them as you want. But the really great thing with NSR is they customize them how you want them. Like I say, they've got a range of sizes, but if you get in touch with them, you can get in touch with them on RF UK, Reptile Forums UK, and tell them that you want a cage that's 875mm by 320mm. They'll make that for you. They're really great like that, and they will customize the cages, like I say, as you want them. So they come with, you can have them with traditional sliding doors, you can have them with swing open doors like this. If you tell them that you want them to open from left to right rather than right to left, they'll do that. They do them with fold down doors, fold up doors, however you want them. They also make them for arboreals with perch holders. I didn't get the perch holders, but they do make those if you want them. I believe they put shelves in them, those kind of things. There's different options for ventilation. I'll talk a bit about that in a minute. They also put a mounting plate up here if you're going to be using reptile radiators. Gives a bit more insulation and holds the screws, because the screws are quite long on those. These are 10mm thick, machine made, CNC manufactured. They're really great. So we'll have a quick look at the Aru, so you don't get bored of me talking about cages, because obviously he's a star of this cage. Like I say, it's male Aru type. It's about 4 years old. I've had him for a couple of years now. He weighs about 650 grams, I believe, and I'm hoping to pair him up for the first time this year. Recently bought a adult female Aru. She's about the same age as him, a few months younger than him. She's a bit bigger than he is. She's just approaching 800 grams now. So yeah, we're going to try these out at the end of the year. He normally goes off feed around November anyway. We're in June now, so at the very end of this year we'll be making an attempt anyhow. The female Aru's in a different room at the moment. She's in an Exoterra. She's in quarantine still. She's only got a few weeks of that left, and then she will be coming into this cage here that's currently housing the Biak in his tub. He's getting his own cage. I've just put him back in there. That's why he's not perched at the minute. So yeah, she'll be going in there. He's getting his own upgrade. So let's have a look in the cage as well. Yeah, like I say, they come with different options for ventilation. You can have soft fit vents, adjustable vents. You can have them put into this front panel down here if you want them, all that kind of thing. I just got mine with an adjustable vent. I've just changed the vent screen. This is what they come with as standard. If you ask them for a different one, I'm pretty sure they'll put a different one on. I prefer the one in the Aru's cage. I think it's a little bit neater. Yeah, so I just got them with those, and these cable glands. We'll go my finger into it and see if I can point at the cable glands. Those things up there, they're just a neat way of passing cables through, but they didn't work out how I wanted them to, because I use these trunk in here to hide cables. I don't like to see cables running across the roof of cages. I'm a little bit of a neat freak, and where they terminated over here and then the cables passed out of them, it left like a loop of the cables that I was passing through, which I didn't think anything of at the time, but after my Aru decided to use 4 inches of cable as a perch and wedge himself in there, I decided that they had to go. So what I did was I drilled them out and I cut them out and fitted these 70mm vents in, these soft fit vents. So I put those in, and what this has worked out really well, and it's a design that when I get my next cages from NSR, I'm going to go straight for this. I like having these soft fit vents in. They provide fairly ample steady ventilation, and then having the adjustable vent means that you can react to changing conditions outside of the cage. As the seasons change, the humidity and temperature around the cages changes, and these allow you to react to that. If like at the moment, we're in summer in England and it's quite warm and it's quite humid, if you didn't have these, you would find that your humidity cycle was quite slow, and after 24 hours it probably wouldn't, after 24 hours after spraying, it probably wouldn't have dropped as much as you wanted it to. So by having this vent almost full bore here, I find that my 24-hour cycle works nice and steady. And then during the drier times, when it's perhaps a little bit cooler, or in the winter time especially, when the windows are closed more and you have central heating on, which obviously dries the air, you can close that vent over, and just work off the soffit vents or somewhere in between them, and that will actually slow down the humidity cycle, so that after 24 hours it's where you want it to be. It just gives you that little option to play with it a little bit and react to it changing, so that you don't end up with a cage that dries too quickly or too slowly. Yeah, my cables are hidden in here. I'm heating with a Reptile radiator in this one, a 75 watt Habitat Reptile radiator, just like that. This one in here doesn't have a guard in it because the snake's not loose. The one in here does. If you're using radiators, don't listen to the people that say you don't need a guard. Put your hand flat on one when it's running. They're hot. It's common sense. They don't cost a lot. Just put a guard on it. There's the thermostat probe there. I have it placed on this side wall, so kind of adjacent to the heater and in between the perches. I find that the snake can't interfere with it, and if the snake ends up lying on the probe, you end up getting false readings to the thermostat, and the thermostat can try and compensate for that by overheating your cage and cooking your animals. I find that the sidewall here is a really steady temperature zone there. If you keep the probe there, the temperature changes in the cage are much slower and a lot more steady. I find if you put the probe directly under the heater, the thermostat's forever chasing its tail trying to get the temperature right. It goes up and down like a yo-yo. I'm using PVC perches at the moment, as well as other modifications that I've made to the cage. These will be coming back out. I had the idea that as my collection grew, it'd be cheaper and possibly easier with maintenance, which is probably true. They are a lot cheaper than buying in branches, and it's a lot easier than going and sourcing your own branches, but I just don't like them. Just personal preference. So I've bought some new cork bark branches, which I used to use with him anyway, and I almost 100% certain he prefers. He finds it a lot easier to shed on these and the grip, etc, etc. And I just prefer them. I think they're worth the extra effort. You know, I'm not to say anything bad about people who use PVC. If it works for you, great, use it. You know, this cage isn't designed to be a natural setup because it's bright white, it's plastic. But by putting plants in and some nice substrate and branches, you can go some way to making it feel a little bit more natural if it doesn't look entirely natural. I'm using cocoa fibre chips on the floor. I think these are Lucky Reptile ones. Comes in a brick, you soak it. It's a dried brick, you soak it, it fluffs up with water, you squeeze out the excess and then you use it. You get a day or two where the humidity is really high and then it dries out a bit, and it's a great substrate. It's really absorbent. I always used this and then I changed to cypress mulch to give that a whirl, and it was okay. It looked good, it smelled nice, and then after the second time that this guy managed to get shards of it wedged in between his lips and his teeth along that gum line, it had to go. I had to pull him out of his cage at midnight because he had some stuck in his mouth, and I had to pull him out to retrieve it, and it wasn't a fun experience, you know, to be fair. I didn't enjoy it, he certainly didn't enjoy it, and he sulked for a while after it. So yeah, I got rid of it after that. I've never had that problem with this stuff. Water ball here in the corner in the cool end, some plastic plants, fairly simple setup. These are my thermometers here. I drilled holes in the front of the cage to pass the cables through and then pop them into the trunking that I have down there, and then they pop out. I don't know if I can see, yeah, the hole up there where the cables all pop out of. NSR now, if you want, provide these cages with white thermometers, fairly similar to these, but they look a little bit nicer, and they countersink them into the cage, and it looks awesome. It looks really, really cool, really neat. So I will definitely be doing that when I order more cages. Currently they're only available in white, on the interior at least. They haven't got a dark material yet, but they will if you want them to have them wrapped. They have like a vinyl wrap, and they do all of the outside of the cage for you, and they look really good. You know, I've seen them in black. I think they've got a huge range of colours that they will do, and it's done really professionally, and it looks good. But then the interior of the cage is still white for the time being, so I didn't bother. The white cages have really grown on me. I like them. The other thing they do with these cages, they make bases for them. You can get them to make you a base stand to go on with. It's all logoed up, and they build storage into that, and you know that's great. And in between your cages, they have these locating pins here. You pop these little plastic pins that they supply with them in, and that makes them stackable, and it makes them really flush and neat, and that's great. But they also make a plinth now that goes on top of the cages, in between the top and the bottom ones. And because if you've got 2 or 3 cages in a row and then stacked up high, you know, where do your thermometers go, where do your thermostats go, and things like that, and the electrics, you know, you can't have it all behind. So they have these plinths, and the plinths have got an access panel on them, and your thermostats just sit on top of your cages. Plinth goes on top of that, and you can still get access to them. And the other thing that it does is that although these cages are PVC and they're really, really, really well insulated, these heaters still pass a lot of heat to the top surface, and you can feel it if you put your hand on top of the cage that they're slightly warm. And if you've got a plinth, it creates an air gap between the cage, the heater, and the cage above it, so that you're not heating the floor of the cage above and, you know, ruining your temperature gradients and your humidity cycles. But yeah, all in all, these are really, really great cages. They're super light, you know. I couldn't believe how light they were when I got them. These two together, I carried up the stairs by myself, one on top of the other. It was really easy. These two together are lighter than my 3 foot by 2 foot by 18 inch Exo Terra. by a long way. But they're still really strong, you know, they're durable. They come pre-sealed, all the corners. They're not going to rot anyway, but they silicone all the edges for you. I think like the front panel, the top and the back are all one piece, or something like that, you know. NSR describe it better than I do, but yeah, they're awesome. I'm lighting mine with LED lights, which you can't see when you're looking, and that's because I don't know if I'll be able to get the camera to pick them up without too much glare. I'll get to refocus it, yeah. I'm using these white Python LED lights, and I mount them behind this front panel because I hate when you look into a cage and you see strip lights at the back. It's just, I don't like it. Like I say, I'm a neat freak. I like it when you look into the cage and you can't tell where the light's coming from. So yeah, I'm using white Python LED lamps. They come in like 2-foot kits, 3-foot kits. They've recently started doing a 1-foot kit, which I wish I'd have known before. Because when I was using the 2-foot kit for these cages, you actually get 2 strip lights that clip together and then they clip to a power source. And they were a little bit bright in here, you know, it was a little bit too bright and clinical. So I used the strip light that has the end cap on it, and that's all I use now. I only use 1 strip, so I could have bought, you know, the 1-foot light kit, but now you can buy the individual strips, the individual power sources, and they also produce a 4-way extension cable. So off the one transformer, you plug in your power supply that has 4 leads to it. So and I think the 18-watt ones can run, you know, however many lamps off them. If you go on the website, it tells you. But off one transformer, I can easily run 4 individual strips. So for me, that means 4 cages lit all together off just one transformer. I've bought some of them recently, and as I start moving these cages around, that's what I'll do. I've got 2 transformers running at the moment, but now that I've got the 4-way extension, I'll split them up. These lamps are great. They're 3.5 watts per strip. So and you compare that to a 15-watt for a you know, an 18-inch bulb is I think 15 watt if you're using a fluorescent lamp. So you know, 4 cages is less than that, you know, for that one bulb. So I'll definitely be doing that in future. But yep, this is my Green Tree Python, my male. I hope you've enjoyed seeing him. He looks pretty small when I put my hand in front of him. I think that's a bit of perspective. He's probably a little bit over 4 feet when he's stretched out. He's not aggressive at all, but he has developed a bit of a grump every now and then, if you will. He's definitely more cage defensive than he used to be, and I think that's since he became sexually mature. You know, he's, like I say, he's not aggressive. He's just a little bit defensive. He's a really nice guy. He has struck out at me once.